Hello everybody, this is AK. I'm back. So I'm sure recently many of us were affected by the disruptions in internet banking services and the ATMs at DBS. And it's very frustrating because this keeps happening to DBS. It just happened, I think, earlier in the year, right? And it's just very frustrating, and it's also very irritating because I'm a customer, right? And when I want to check something using the DBS app, I couldn't. So and it persisted for more than a day. But for some people it might not be merely irritating, because some people really do need to perform important banking functions. They have more important reasons for using internet banking than AK, who was just trying to check how much passive income did he received from the recent T-bill auction, for example. So it might not just be irritating, right, and frustrating. It could have severe consequences for certain people who had to make payments, for example, in a timely manner. And last time something like this happened, MAS, Monetary Authority of Singapore, punished DBS. And I produced a video on this about 5 months or 6 months ago. And that wasn't voiced by AK, that was still voiced by Mr. Ang Mo. And if you're interested, you can go and do a search and listen to Mr. Ang Mo. And I am pretty sure DBS will be punished again this time, right? So that's why on screen you see DBS online services crash again. What to expect, what to do. So what to expect is that I expect DBS to be punished again by MAS. And how are they going to be punished? Probably it's going to be similar to what happened half a year ago. Right, and we should know in a couple of months. So I'm not going to make more speculative remarks here. But for an outage that took place in November 2021, for example, the punishment was dished out in February 2022. So there's like 3 or 4 months lag, and it should be the same this time, right? And I saw a report by Citibank that says DBS may see reduced excess capital, reputation risk, and higher operational expense after latest outage. I mean, that's to be expected. Reputation risk for sure. If it keeps happening like this, people will say, oh, I think I might want to transfer my funds out from DBS and go to some other banks which are more reliable, when it comes to internet services, because so many things done online nowadays. Even the dinosaur like AK, right? I'm an IT dinosaur. I'm a self-professed IT dinosaur. No one else has to worry about calling me a dinosaur, because I myself call myself a dinosaur. So you can call me a dinosaur, that's fine. And reputation risk for sure, and higher operational expense. I think this is necessary, right? Obviously, whatever they are doing is not enough, right, to maintain a reliable system, right, to ensure a reliable system. So if they need to have higher OPEX, then they need higher OPEX. But please make sure, I really hope that they solve this problem once and for all, and make sure that the money is well spent. Okay, if money has to be spent, it has to be spent, but it should be well spent. And this thing about seeing reduced excess capital, which Citibank talks about, if they say DBS may see reduced excess capital because of this episode, that's the kind of punishment that MAS would likely give, what I said earlier. Like, for example, 5 months ago, Monetary Authority of Singapore applied a multiplier of 1.8 times to risk assets owned by DBS, right? So it's multiplier of 1.8 times to its risk-weighted assets for operational risk, because this thing is an operational risk, right? Outage of internet banking services and the ATM. And what is this thing? This punishment, right? Basically, it's an additional regulatory capital imposed by MAS, and this basically is locking up cash, locking up cash. So capital requirements are standard regulations that determine how much liquid capital a bank must hold for a certain level of asset. So if the central bank tells you must hold a higher level of liquid capital for your level of asset, that means there's more cash being locked up. When you have more cash being locked up, right, basically it means higher capital requirement is higher. This will inhibit a bank's ability to invest because it locks up more capital as a safeguard, and it's necessary because if this failure persists, then we need a stronger safeguard, right? So, but then the question is, how badly is this going to impact DBS? So when this happened, when MAS slapped the punishment on DBS 5 months ago, DBS saw a hit to its Common Equity Tier 1 ratio, CET1 ratio. It dropped from 14.4% to 14.1%. So we should expect CET1 ratio to be hit again if the same kind of punishment is being dished out for this most recent outage. Although it reduced, to 14.1% the last time, it was still a very high CET1 ratio. That's why Mr. Piyush Gupta came out to say that they had excess capital to the tune of like $3 billion. Right? So if this time CET1 ratio takes a hit again, then that $3 billion excess capital might take a hit. You might reduce by a certain percentage. But what is Common Equity Tier 1 ratio, right? Some of you might not know this, but basically it is capital that is held by the banks, and the capital is required by banks to absorb unexpected losses that may arise in the normal course of operations, right? And during Evening with AK and Friends, I said that most valuable form of CET1 capital is actually CASA. That means the money in the current account and savings account, because that is near money, that is liquid, the most liquid, that you can have in terms of capital. And all three banks, DBS, OCBC, and UOB, had very good CASA ratio to fixed deposits, for example. And I produced a video on that recently. And they're very strong CET1 ratios. So, in fact, DBS has so much liquid capital, so much excess, that Mr. Piyush Gupta said it wasn't optimal to keep such a high CET1 ratio. And I think he said the more optimal level of CET1 capital ratio would be like 12 to 13%. So even if it dips to below 14% this time, it's still more excess capital that Mr. Piyush Gupta would care to retain. If MAS slaps a harsher punishment on DBS this time, we have to ask what to do. Because I did say that I'm looking to add to my investment in DBS in a recent video, and I said the price of $33 was immediate support and $30 is a longer term support, and I would like to add at $30 per share. Right? What to do now? I would still want to add at $30 per share if that price should ever be hit. This is because DBS has so much liquidity. Yes, so much liquidity, right? Even if punishment is given out by MAS, it will still have a lot of liquidity. It has so much liquidity that it was lending money to the MAS. And I made a video on this recently too. So basically, if MAS tells it to lock up even more money, DBS is locking up capital it wasn't utilizing anyway to invest with, because it couldn't find enough opportunities to invest the money. So it'll be just locking up idle money anyway. So it will not impact DBS earnings. I don't think so. All right. And however, if more of its excess capital is being locked up, then it could affect the chances of having a special dividend. Oh my goodness, what did I just say? So the chances of special dividend will go down. So I tell you, Mr. Piyush Gupta, please, DBS, please pull up your socks, okay? I would like to have more dividends, right? But on a more pragmatic level, right? What to do? As consumers, try not to have only one bank account. Try to have a few. Like I have bank accounts with DBS, OCBC, and UOB. So if something like this happens to one bank, at least we still have two other banks to go to, right? Unless all three banks suffer outages at the same time, lah. Okay. So that's all for now. If AK can talk to himself, so can you. Bye bye.